Candidates, I'd like to ask you about Governor Gina Raimondo. Tell us what letter grade you would give her for her job performance as governor, as well as your view of her best accomplishment and biggest mistake, starting with John Flores.
I would give her a B-, and here's why. I'm a Democrat, I'm a proud Democrat, but I look at things objectively. And just because I'm a Democrat, when I get elected, I'm not just going to toe the party line. One of the things that really frustrates me, especially as a business owner, is that 2/3 of our funds that were slated for economic development went to out-of-state companies. How is that? Let me tell you something that happened in person. I'm going to put on my business owner hat for a minute. One of the services that we provide in my company is we build websites. Harvard, Yale, Fortune 500 companies build pretty substantial websites. Well, we met with Commerce Rhode Island on several occasions, and they told us they would help us really grow, and we didn't took a penny from them, but they told us to give support. Then I found out through a friend that they actually outsourced a web development project that was right in line with our sweet spot of projects that we do in our company. And then it angered me from two perspectives. One, from a business person's perspective, and two, as a politician, it concerned me that I can't possibly be the only company. We can't possibly be the only organization in Rhode Island.
Let me stop you there because I also want to ask your view of Governor Raimondo's best accomplishment as governor and her biggest mistake.
Well, the biggest mistake I just mentioned, Commerce Rhode Island, I think has been a complete disaster. I think she has done a marginal job at bringing in some companies, some organizations here to Rhode Island. But again, the grades, I'm not that impressed from what I've seen so far.
Okay, let's go to David Enos, letter grade for Governor Raimondo and her best accomplishment and biggest mistake as governor.
I'd give her a C. I expected a lot more out of her. She's a very bright lady, well-educated individual, and everybody saw her as a treasurer thinking that she had the best idea in the world. There needed to be some type of reform in the pension system for the state of Rhode Island. There's no question about it. The way that it went through was something less than desirable.
But that was as treasurer, so if you want to talk about that as part of your letter grade, fine, but please also cite what you see as your best accomplishment and biggest mistake as governor.
Losing $500 million last year of hardworking people is her biggest disaster. The way that she decided to invest that money and the people she invested that money in was an absolute disaster, period. I can't get away from it. One of the best things that I think she's come up with is the initiative for the commons. I think that's a fantastic idea, so that's why I give the governor a C.
Kim Ripley?
Yeah, I also would give the governor a C. I think in how she's promoted Volvo and supported Sallyport and things of that nature, which also has a national and international flavor to it, draws people and helps the economy here in Rhode Island. I think one of the mistakes is that instead of decreasing the size of government, she's actually increased the size of government and created more offices, more burdensome of the bureaucracy, and it's harder for people. I also think maybe not utilizing her transition team when she came into office and understanding the importance of the UHIP and putting someone who was in charge of the Department of Human Services who had little or no leadership experience in charge of one of the largest agencies outside the Department of the Administration, also with one of the largest budgets. I think that's probably, not her personally, but it does reflect her leadership in that regard. And then maybe currently not bringing together the Senate President and Speaker of the House. She's the leader. I mean, you're a leader. You're the governor. You should, and they're in your party.
Michael Smith, here's your opportunity.
Well, I would give her a D. I believe she's done a good job in promoting our state. She's been on a lot of tours throughout the country. I think that's for promotion of our state. That's a joke. And that's for fundraising. But as far as it's mostly the worst problem is just an economic vision. We're continuing to drop as far as jobs, stagnant paychecks, and the biggest issue that affects our area is families. As our population is dropping in Newport and Jamestown, the average age is getting older. The average age in Jamestown is actually 66. The average age in Newport is 59. 50% of our population has left in the last 40 years, and that number is growing. The biggest number out of that figure is families, and families are what makes our community. And also is the elderly, because we're the worst state to retire in the country, according to the AARP. So the vision that the governor has, it's basically vision. There's a lot of things, and we can nitpick at it, but vision is the biggest job of a governor.
David Allard, we should note that you formerly worked in the Raimondo administration, so give us your view.
I did, so it might be slightly biased. Of course I'm going to say A, and I'm going to say A for this reason, because I worked up close and personal with the governor for 2 years. And I have to sit here with in a wonderful group of people who did not, and they don't realize maybe how hard that she works. She works all day, every day, and the one thing that she keeps in mind is trying to better the lives of Rhode Islanders. And I know that up close, and I know that personally. I'm going to get back to your question because I know that you were about to get there. This is not my first rodeo. All right, so I think her greatest accomplishment is the 13,000 jobs that she's created, and that we are now at about a 4% unemployment rate, which I think is fantastic. One thing that I wasn't crazy about was some of the way in the first year of the administration that some of the tourism budget was handled, whereas it was taken from certain communities and brought as a whole. I would like to see it go back to particular communities.
Dawn Lawyer?
I would give her a C-. I think that I like her approach of starting the conversation about public education and higher education. However, I think the approach on it is wrong. What we need to do is we need to be investing in our public institutions. We need to recognize that government is not a business. We have more to look at than the bottom line. We do think about making sure that we're good stewards of our taxpayer dollars, but we need to be investing in social services, in public goods like our schools, like our roads, our bridges, our other infrastructure needs to make sure that we have communities that families can live in, that families can afford. My perspective is that, so even though I do appreciate the start of the conversation around higher education, I don't think that we should be approaching it from an entitlement perspective, because we need to be investing in our public institutions so that we can have an educated populace.
Best accomplishment and biggest mistake for the governor?
I would say the biggest accomplishment is starting the conversation on public education and the funding around our public education. But I would like to see the conversation shift to be more about investment and not running our government as a business, but running government as a government.